All right. How we doing? In the words of Jean-Paul Bondy, greetings, nerds. That's how you would have said it, right? Or would have it been more of a greetings, nerds? A little more nasal. Who was first? Syak. Is it Syak? Did I get it right? Syak PhD live? Hey, I'm live too. How's it going? We got Bug Tank. We are here. Talking about the countdown music reminding of Pole. Well, I'll take that as a compliment. Thank you very much. It's an unreleased track of mine that I occasionally use as intro music here. Think, why didn't I release that? Stereo Decor, the aforementioned Jean-Paul Bondy. Yes, we're all nerds. And we're proud. Alright, Bug Tank, the track that's playing now, Front 242, If They Lived in Miami. Out, that's good, I like that. I'm gonna do a AI video and give it that prompt. Alessandro Braz, what's up? Daniel Rast, welcome. Doug Smith, yes, Techno Peoples and Electro Peoples. Hey, hello. A May is here. UK Telectro is here. Luminous Cloud, ayo! Jean-Paul, I think the unreleased track is the chill, weird ambient intro, not this track that I'm talking over. This was out on Serotonin. And thank you for saying it's deadly. I like that. It's the kind of track that, for me, rides the line between electro and breaks. And it's musical, and it's dark, and spacious. It's very me. I'm dark and spacious sometimes, I guess. In my mind. Alright, now I'm getting silly. We are nerdy around here. It's okay. At this point, I'm just procrastinating. Let's dive in. Hi. It's Selway's Electro and Techno Saturdays. I'm here in the content studio at 343 Labs Music Production School in New York City. And of course, we have our sister school in Berlin, the other 343 Labs. Hey, we're all one big happy global family here at 343 Labs. And yeah. Wow, I've been doing this a long time. It's been years. I mean, the school's been around for 6 years, pre-COVID, and then we went online for COVID, and that's when I started streaming. And I'm still doing it, and it remains, generally, when life doesn't get in the way, one of the highlights of my week. So yeah, glad to be back again. Another kind of chill, I'm not sure what I'm going to do today, sort of a show. We'll get back into that. And, another couple names in here. Dave Sweetmiller is here. Actually, just one more name, sorry. What are you all thinking about this week? I've been busy. I'm moving my family into Brooklyn. I'm not going to be in Manhattan. I've been in Manhattan for as long as I've lived in New York, pretty much, since the 90s. And now I'm going to be in Brooklyn. So, yeah, a lot going on. We've had a really busy summer here at 343 Labs, what with our intensive summer programs and our DJ program starting up, going gangbusters, and we've had more summer camp action, a lot of middle schoolers and high schoolers coming in to learn music production and DJing as well. So, and we've got another cohort of the one-year program in September. We've got graduations and final performances and graduations for our existing one-year program students that are about to finish. It is a lot going on here. And as ever, if you're interested in what we do, if you want to find out more about classes and events and so on, you've got the links below to take you to our website for New York and for Berlin and for all our online classes. And there's also that Discord link down there, which I know when I talk about Discord, it's usually we're talking about my feedback channel where we, when we have activities for y'all to join into. Feedback sessions, remix, sample challenges. That's where once I get it together and get back on a regular schedule and get some guests lined up and some material ready to share with you guys, The Discord channel is the first place you're going to find out about it. And, you guys hang out there and post tracks every now and then, and I chime in every now and then to say hello and tell you what's going on. I'm not going to lie, it's not the most busy Discord server ever, but there's some cool stuff in there, so why not? Why not subscribe? Why not join? Why not do all those things that we ask you to do? What, it's no skin off your back, right? Good evening, Steph and Pete. Welcome. Michael Kissing, greets from Germany. I'd like to get back there. I was in Berlin the year before COVID for a gig and to see friends, and I would love to go back. It's been a long time. Of course, I've never even seen the 343. I've never been to 343 Labs in Berlin, and actually, we just moved. There's a whole new space. We were in Riverside Studios. I think we're just transitioning from Riverside Studios to our own new space, and I would love to go see it. So yeah, maybe we'll get to hang out in Berlin sometime, all you guys in Germany. And Jaja9000 says, hey, there is another stream of you at the moment. I was waiting there. Sorry about the confusion. I really need to, I keep forgetting to change the settings. So like I have that we have Restream and it streams to our YouTube, 343 Labs YouTube. And I also send it to my channel as like kind of an archive, and it would make sense if I don't do that publicly. So y'all don't get confused and everybody's here in the same place. I'll fix it for next time. I promise. Acid Bat is here. Mr. T is here. What's good in the hood? Yes. Skermantis is back. Welcome back. And Luminous Cloud, what are you talking about? Faith No More. Faith No More, the real thing, intro drums to sample loop, slice, dice, glitch, and reverse that loopy loop. Is that what you're doing right now? Is you're slicing and dicing Faith No More? That's funny. I like it when people play around with samples of things that you wouldn't expect. Like, our good friend Abe Duque has a track he made back in the day that has a drum loop from Van Halen, Hot for Teacher, in a house track, and it's amazing. You would never expect, but it worked so well. Oh, wait, was I not supposed to say that? Anyway, Content ID won't catch me talking about it. Oh, yeah, Luminous Cloud West Pest. Are you using a West Pest? I have one of those. I lent it to my friend, Elliot, DJ Ulysses. Or just Ulysses. He's not only a DJ, right? But he's got my West Pest. Elliot, bring my West Pest back. Are you watching? Talking to you. Bring it back. Yeah, I haven't been playing around with hardware at all lately. I'm looking at this gear over here, and it's just staring at me. My old Juno 106 that I got when I was a young teenager is just like crying. Like, come on, play me, make music with me. I'm alone. Okay, enough silliness. Actually, no, I cannot promise there will be no more silliness. I think I might be in a bit of a silly mood today, apparently. And, all right. What are we doing today? So some months already ago, I'm not even sure, the new version of the Sting sequencer, we played with that before, Sting 2. Actually, I forget how long ago it was, but I've been procrastinating on playing around with it. So yeah, Sting, which initially was kind of supposed to be a 303 sequencer emulator, or like it randomly generates good 303 patterns, and at that it does do it. It's great. And then now there's the updated version which does more than that, and it does evolving stuff, and it has a new algorithm for generating patterns. And I don't know. I'm a little behind the curve on this one as far as like people on YouTube going over new plugins and stuff like that, but who cares? Like I said, we're just going to kind of fool around and have fun and see what happens. And the other thing I'm doing is, I'm playing around with the roll. Since I decided to spend too much money on Roland Cloud, I have all of these original Roland recreations, the official virtual Roland instruments and software, right? The 606 is one of my favorite drum machines. We used it a lot for the Synapse stuff, the early Synapse and Serotonin stuff. And I always go back to samples of the 606, and I'll use like the Ableton Live 606 kit. But the real-time emulation of it, with the variations in the sounds and the character of the sounds, I think, is a little bit better than samples. So I'm just going to let's make some beats on the 606 and see what we can do with it. That's pretty much it. Really simple premise today. Going back to the roots here. a couple of machines, right? Oh, actually, yeah, and I've got the Roland 303 here, and it's got its original, you know, well, or the new Roland sort of digital version of the sequencer. But I don't know, why not control the Roland 303 with Sting 2 and make it do something it can't do? I don't know. Just basic, clean family fun, acid family fun here today on Selway's Techno and Electro Saturdays. So Luminous Cloud is reminding us that they are available as individual plugins. And yeah, I've thought about that. I've been, I need a sale, but I think you can get them on Plugin Boutique right now in little packs. Like there's a monosynth pack and a drum machine pack. And, if you buy them both together, it's over $500. I guess that's cheaper than a year of the subscription. So probably I should do it, but it just seems like a lot of money all at once. Whereas, you have the subscription and you don't notice you're spending too much money because it trickles out of your account rather than comes out in one big lump sum. Honestly, I don't think these plugins are worth as much as they're charging for them, like especially a big company like that. Like why do they have to charge so much for a little bit of code? Is it because people pirate them? Is that still a big thing? I don't know. Maybe I just don't understand the economics of it, but I feel like a relatively large corporation like Roland should be able to afford to sell their plugins for, I don't know, at least match the cost of a Behringer ripoff. Why not? Like you can get a TD3 or whatever it is for like $75. Like I would pay that for a real 303 emulation from Roland in software to own forever, I suppose. Raphael's asking if I've ever tried the free plugins from Noise Engineering. I have, and I thought I had some of them. That's actually a good suggestion for like putting. Yeah, all right. I have a couple. They might need updates, but I have Sync Varior, and I have Vert Varior, and I'll bet you that putting the sequencer, putting Sting in front of them could be a lot of fun. All right. So maybe we'll do that. Very nice. Itzy's talking about the subscription and rent to own. That would be nice. If Roland would just like make you subscribe for a while and then you get to keep them. Anyway, we'll see. Let's start playing with some stuff here. Where is this 606? What does this Roland 606 plugin sound like? I think it sounds pretty decent. I've got it on the basic kit preset. It's tweakable. There's some effects in there, I think, or at least you can like overdrive it and I've got it on an empty pattern. And let's start with the hi-hats, because that's probably honestly my favorite thing about the 606 is the hi-hats and the interaction of the closed and open hi-hats. And the sound of the oscillator. I mean, I think it's oscillators. I think it's like high frequency square waves or something through a filter with some noise. And I love how you can do like the sort of half open hi-hat or the full open hi-hat, and how there's also when we can do the velocity, like the weak beat, and get some ghost notes in there. What happens if I put a open hi-hat on top of that? Yeah, there's even like another variation of the weak hi-hat and the open stacked. It's just like a lot of subtlety you can program just with those different permutations and combinations of things. I don't know where the beat is. Let's put in a snare. I mean, so far it's legit. I like that. So that kind of interplay between the closed and the open, it's very expressive for this simple, cheap old drum machine. And then use the accent, the total accent. Let's tweak that hi-hat a little bit. Not that much to do with it, really. Yeah, the tuning does a lot. It's kind of got a sweet spot, though, in there. The sound of, all right, the sound of an overdriven open hi-hat. I love that, you know, because there's a lot of low frequency noise in there too. So it's like getting that, it's just kind of chopping the beginning of that transient off and it gets chunkier. Sounds like the decay is mostly acting on the closed hi-hat. Let's tweak that snare a little bit. Yeah, definitely need some saturation on that. Maybe a little. Right, and this is all stuff you couldn't do on the original 606 unmodified anyway. All right. And then we get to like the weakest thing about this is the kick drum. Okay. Kind of rolling groove there of the kick. Let's see what happens. Can we make this a little more fun, a little more pumping? There it is. This drum machine has to have saturation. I think that's what it is. And you know, also on the original 606, you can't tune the kick drum. You have to open it up. You have to do it inside or have it modified. But I love that you can just easily do it right here. Oh, I was wondering, like, why am I not hearing the accent? It's because my accent level is all the way down. Pushing that snare drum up to a little too high now. Yeah, I think this sounds legit. It's probably identical to like what you get in the hardware, the new hardware that's virtually modeled. And great, it sounds good. I'm absolutely happy with this. Maybe a little bit too heavy on these accents. Actually, a little less attack is good. It's rounder. Acid Bat is a big fan of layering the 606 kick with an 808. Let's do it. Actually, no, before we add more drums, let's play around with this. So I think this is a default Sting 2. And I've got Live's analog set up to do a simple, 303-like monophonic sawtooth thing. So that's the default coming out of the Sting. Tweak this sound a little bit. Oh, the glide. All right. That's kind of cheesy sounding. We need something better than that. Let's go and play around with Sting 2 a little bit and see how it goes. And all right, this is one of the things I wanted to try out is, it's generating these patterns. You can set a root note for this pattern that it's generating, but then you can also have it follow Live's global scale, which is interesting. I'm going to put this in E. I've got this. Oh, no. This one's set to G and randomly set to Lydian, and I don't know why. Got a different, like more or less random, right? I think like this is fully random, and then this is like picking patterns that are kind of, you know, within a certain genre or boundary, rhythmic. I don't know. It's, yeah. I love how it goes from random to the most acid. How you decide that, I don't know. All right. We have our density. It's just the number of notes. That's kind of cool. Click on the happy face to get some variations. I feel like a lower density for something kind of electro acid funk would be good, rather to have it be all the time squiggling around, but we'll see. I mean, that's a nice bass line already. Let's increase the density a little bit. Increase the gate a little bit. It's going to make longer note lengths, but also I can play around with the synth a little bit. Make it less 303 like if I give it some release, because I think the 303 doesn't have a release on its envelope. It's just decay to silence. Turn the legato off. Always going to bend a little bit. I like that for a bass line. I'm going away from 303 and making it a little bit more fat. I'm good with that. Little sub oscillation going on there. All right, starting to get a little more electro, a little less acid right now. We're gonna have to go back and put something acidy on top of it, I guess. Let's modulate the filter frequency a little bit. LFO or velocity? No. Well, there is velocity coming out of this, isn't there? It has accenting. All right, let's try it out. All right, I'm getting velocity to envelope amount. To do that. Yeah, it's really subtle, right? Let's see what's going on in here. Here's the editor. Can I change them here? Yeah, I was a little confused about this before. Like I need to go through and read the documentation, but like this, I thought you'd be able to like set the gate, set the accent, set the note, but doesn't look, you can change the note. I've already messed it up. Oh, I see. All right, I'm getting it now. I don't know what I clicked on, so I kind of messed the pattern up, but whatever. We'll just leave it and go with it. All right, there's a mod tab, which is letting you use external MIDI to control parameters of the sequencer. That'd be great for performance, right? You could just like use your hands to make the sequencer change and evolve and go in different directions. I might come back to that. Let me go back to the sound and at least get something moving in a way that I find interesting. Do random sample and hold-esque. That's what I wanted. Okay. All right, dare I play with this? This is getting a little too busy in the other variation. I like that more simple version. I can go over to the mod tab and do a little bit of variation with the life section. Like increase a percentage that the density may change sometimes. All right, that didn't work. Let's try type. Keeping the rhythm the same, creating a little variation in the melody. Let's see what happens. This is doing it per 16th note. What if I change the rate of the randomization or life of that type? I mean, it's cool, but it's kind of like I'm losing the groove a little bit when it changes too much. Looks like it doesn't go back to where you started. I guess that's a danger of these generative things. Like you generate and generate, and it might not go back to where you wanted. I guess that's why we want to do things like this, where you while you're tweaking, you record the output of what you're doing. You record your MIDI. And then you can play around as far as you like. Let's try another, well, now that we have this kind of minimal, funky electro bass thing going on, let's actually do something more acidy with the 303. I already played around with this earlier. And this, so you can see what's happening here. This is with the life, randomizing the type and the density. Let's transpose this up an octave. Right, and I'm using the actual 303 here. I don't know if I love the effects that are built into these plugins. I want stereos, doesn't really have that. Unless it has, there it is, there's a panning delay. Nope. Spoke too soon. All right, it's playing some notes I don't like. So I guess that's kind of the other thing I'm trying to investigate here, is how it interacts with the live scales, right? Scale awareness. Like, if I turn this off, sounds the same. Am I missing something? Oh, this should be on. So, these notes should be changing when I change the... Ah, there it goes. Right. It's subtle, right? Some of the notes are changing, some of them aren't. I guess it just depends on what notes are being generated by this thing. That's getting better. I'm going to have the life at a higher percentage and see how much crazier it gets. I keep getting this RCM error. It is registered. I don't know. It's not connecting to their servers. Hey, I see a Mike Victory watching on Facebook. Are you the Mike Victory that we released the record? I kind of like this vibe. I feel like, it's a little repetitive right now. It's a good bed for building a track. Lately, that's what I've been doing on this show, is just starting tracks, sketching at ideas and not necessarily finishing them. See if I can get this thing to do a little bit more. Got full density, full random. I've got an odd number of steps. I've got a lot of percentage high on the type modulation and density modulation, so it should be getting more or less complex. Now, how can I make this evolve more? Well, I guess I need to click and generate another pattern. There it is. That's better. I was stuck on not enough notes. Let's see what happens if I do this. I have this generate button, so it'll, like, on a beat or a bar, it will click, automatically generate for you. All right, I like that. Let's increase the gate a little bit and see if it gets a little more bendy, slidey. There, I start to get wiggly now. I like that. I should be recording the output of the MIDI from this thing, because it's going to do something and I'm going to like it, and then it's never going to do it again. Rid of this randomization life on the type and density and just see if we can stick to one pattern that sounds good. I also like the idea of having it go forward and backwards, doubling the length of the sequence. That's good. It's kind of talking to itself. I'm okay with that. Let's play with the 303. See how this sounds overdriven. Like, because we're losing the quiet notes, we can kind of bring it up by overdoing it. Ay, ay, ay. Still getting that error. What happens if I make it old? It goes out of tune a little bit. I'm cool with that too. If I want to get into effects, I should probably break out some plugins. Just seeing what this thing can do right now. What just happened? Audio rate. Frequency modulation going on with the chorus. That's a nice trick to sneak in there, Roland. Did anybody know it could do this? That's what I get for not playing with my plugins enough. This is starting to sound very BPMF, Jason Sostek, Synapse, early Serotonin, like nerd funk. That's definitely, we used to do stuff like this with hardware. Definitely feeling some nostalgia playing around this way today. Let's pause a little bit. I feel like that just tweaked my brain a little bit. Yeah, a little bit past the halfway point here on Selway's Techno and Electro Saturdays, playing around with the Roland stuff and playing around with the Roland inspired stuff, the generative 303-esque sequencing of Sting 2. There's been a bunch of videos with people playing around with this, using them for drums, using them to make techno, using it to do typical 303 stuff. And I know maybe it seems obvious to you, but like this isn't just for 303 lines. You could have this do any kind of interesting rhythmic melodic pattern, right? Just put it in front of a synth or some samples or a drum kit and go for it. We might do that. We might have to do that now that I said it. I do have other synths to play with here, like the sync varier, vert varier, and I have this thing too, this hyper splash thing that we played around with the other day, or a few weeks ago, actually. I have been ignoring the chat. I am sorry. Nice to have you here. Yeah, Mike, Victory. And hey, look, it's BPMF. Who was I just talking about? Glad you're here. Kozep says, use the export clip button and then tweak again. Yes, that's right. I forgot about that. There's, I was talking about re-recording the MIDI before, but you can just, whatever it's playing. Oh, I just lost the pattern. Whatever clip is playing, you can just grab it. There it is. It just throws it up there in an empty slot on your track. So that's good. I like that. Thanks for the reminder. Always be, hey Functor, nice to have you. Always be recording. Agreed. Jaja 9000, I made drum racks of the Roland TR with pre-processed filters compression to make them more punchy. Yeah, I mean, that's a good idea. Custom drum racks with samples of drum sounds that you like. Always good. Luminous Cloud uses a drum bus on the Electribe, the whole Electribe VST. Yeah, dude, good idea. I think just putting effects on your drums in general is just, you got to do that, right? It's just a whole nother story. I mean, I can't remember the guy's name, but there's a guy who does like industrial music videos, and this one popped up on my feed on YouTube, and he's just like taking old shitty drum machines and running them through distortion pedals, and you're like, yes, that's it. That's the sound, right? You don't have to get all crazy. It's like just a bunch of rock drum kits through like too much distortion, and then you start sounding like Front 242 or somebody. Let's see. Daniel Rest suggests a pad on top of this. Yeah, sure. Yeah, sure. Definitely, you know, that's inevitable for me. Like I'll make some weird funky groove and then I'll just make it all chill with some pads or chords or things like that. I like to find that balance of spacey and chill and dark and energetic or funky or whatever, especially with this kind of electro sound. All right. This is weird. I kind of like, let me get rid of this. I like the crazy audio rate chorus frequency modulation thing going on there, but it does kind of take it into, it's real whacked out there. I'm thinking I might want it to be a little more trippy and chill. What would this sound like? You know, like for me, like a go-to nowadays to be kind of modern and spacey is just granularizing everything. To put a fragments on this and run through some presets. I said we could put a fragment on this. Come on, load up. What's going on here? There we go. I already like it. That was like 3 presets in, and I'm like, okay. I like that. I might just roll with it. I'm not going to get deep into modifying this preset. I'm just going to... Make it more of a background element now. Let's just leave that there. I'm enjoying it. How do we spice this sound up a little bit? What's a good effect to put on this? Any suggestions? More granular? Reverb? Chorus? I don't know. Leave it dry? Sometimes I like just, even though it's a bass sound and I don't want it to be all boomy and reverby, a little tight reverb on there might be nice. Let's do it. I'm just going to go through some early reflections. Also, there's a little, I want to soften up the attack on that a little bit. It's kind of scratchy sometimes. It might just always have to be that way. All right, we'll just live with that. Maybe we'll take care of that with the compressor or something, or EQ later. All right, I have to remind myself what these noise engineering plugins sound like. Maybe we'll just start with that. Just simple like square wave or pulse wave. And I don't know, let's put Sting in front of it and do something. But something rather than it's monophonic, something more polyphonic and chordal. Perhaps. We'll see how it goes. All right. What key are we in? G. Well, let's just see if I put that on and put that on G. Does it play nice? Let's do something low density and I don't know. Hit randomize and play. All right, that didn't work at all. We need to transpose up higher. Let's do a higher density. Let's shorten the number of steps. This might take some work right off the bat. I'm like, not sure about that. Let's get rid of the accent. And let's shape the sound a little bit. See if I can remember how to use this thing. Open up the mod view here a little bit. No. I am not convinced that this thing is following the scale awareness. I could be doing, this could be user error, but it is not, I'm not sure what's going on here, to be honest. All right. Also, is there a way to like limit how high and low the notes go on this thing? That I'm not sure about. All right. I feel like I got stuck on this thing. all you can do is just keep hitting randomize until it sounds cool. I mean, it sounds kind of nice melodically by itself. The sound needs some definition and some shape, right? Like. And so long since I've used this thing, I have no idea what's going on. Ah. This thing sounds weird in a cool way. The chorus is really wide and all right, I don't know what's going on right now. Just bear with me. All right, we're changing the shape of the waveform here. That's interesting. All right, really no idea what's happening. Will these even go together? No. Where did we go? What planet are we on right now? I feel like if I hit random enough, I'm gonna find something. Let's try to simplify it. Fewer steps. This is exactly what you signed up for today. Yeah, I don't know. This may or may not be the right direction to go. But I'm now just making it drone. This could work with some effects. All right, dare I randomize again? I mean, I kind of like it better as a drone now. Rhythmic drone. I'm channeling Jason Sostek. He knows it too. I like it with the extra chorus. Does this work with the beat and the bass line? I don't know. I feel like I went out in the wrong direction. Can I bring it back? Well, we only have a few minutes left. Maybe not today. Also, I think I accidentally randomized this. So I changed what I liked about... Man, you got to be careful with this stuff. Re-recording your MIDI or recording all of this stuff definitely when you're fooling around would be a good idea because you're going to lose it. You're definitely going to lose it. It could also be that I just picked a weird scale. I don't know. What happens if we do like minor pentatonic or something? Yeah, that worked. Better, but not great. All right, I feel a little bit better now that I could easily hear that it's following the scale awareness. Before it was so subtle I wasn't sure. Now I'm hearing it. Better. Easier scale to randomize into. Fewer notes that sound wrong. If they happen at the wrong time. Okay. All right. That just messed my head up. Kind of diving in and getting lost there for a second with the randomization and what the sound was doing and remembering how to use that plugin, which it's actually not complicated. It's pretty simple subtractive synthesis, but you know, it looks funny. It's mesmerizing. All right. Where are we? Hey, there's a guy named Mr. Hater who says the bass 303 does not work. It is just a cliche bad sound. Yeah, well, phooey on you, Mr. Hater. I just started this track. Don't feed the trolls. Shaja 9000 ordered a pizza. This is a cool suggestion. Funktor says mix multiple stings and make it play polyphonically. I mean, that could be really interesting, right? I mean, you could have them. You could have a rack with multiple chains playing multiple different melodies in the same key going into one instrument or different instruments. Yeah, give that a try. Some good suggestions in here, probably that I missed in the moment, but you know, Mike Victory says I'd reduce the release and add delay and add separate panning to the dry and delayed version. That's a cool. That probably would have worked, definitely. I appreciate this acid bat. I love it. Thank you. Can take it there and then back off. I definitely I'm taking it there and I need to back off. Like I need to push it, see how far it goes, get crazy, and then rein it in. This is definitely in rein it in territory. Just with these few layers, right? I got drums, I got Mr. Hater doesn't like the bass, whatever, and then you know an acidy line, and then another acidy line, and not in a different sound, and you know it's going in this kind of chill, spacey direction, which is fine. I haven't done any kind of mellow, chill stuff in a while. Good direction to go in. Y'all are talking about Alien Earth. I agree. I just watched the first two episodes myself. Those are definitely good, and I'm looking forward to more. Okay, this is a more constructive comment from Mr. Hater. Use cliche bass and add lots of effects. Track finished. That's like 90% of techno. Simple sounds with lots of effects. But, you know, what about the human element? What about the attitude? What about the feeling, right? I think, you know, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. Okay, what is this? Jaja says, bass 303 sounds can be nice. What is he talking about? I didn't even react. Okay. And less reverb. I get that. Okay. So I've got a couple more minutes. I'm not going to really, I don't know. I feel like I don't want to rush trying to add another element to this. I'm just going to listen to it for a second and just kind of review what we have. All right, drums. This needs to be mixed. Right? I think I want to I can stem these out or, you know, separate these out on different tracks since I can. Or I could also keep it old school. Like, you know, we didn't have a modified 606 back in the day. So I think it all. Jason, are you still there? BPMF, are you still in the house? Did the 606 we used for Synapse, did that have separate outputs on it? I can't remember. Does the original 606 have separate outputs on it? I don't think so. But yeah, we would just run it through like delay pedals and stuff. Yeah, so some processing on the drums to make them sound like, or maybe just keep it old school on a stereo bus, and then we have our boring bass line. It is bread and butter. That's a bread and butter sound. I already know it needs to be fattened up a little bit, polished a little bit. We're just sketching here. I'm not worried about it. And, I like the idea. I still like the idea of the random. Maybe instead of doing it random, though, I could do like, more velocity or more careful modulation of filter going on there. And yeah, we could pump this sound up a little bit. All right. And then, these lines that we're using Sting 2 to generate. And I could lean, maybe I don't go completely spacey on the granular reverb stuff. Like maybe we keep it more kind of tight and funky and see how that works. You know what? It sounds like it went out of key again. Honestly, I don't know what's going on here. What if we go back over to, what is it? Minor pentatonic? Is that what it is? There it is. All right, that needs some work. All right, this is a learning experience for everybody. And then we've got whatever this was. Which, again, did it make sense to use Sting for this? Maybe it would have been better if I just wrote it myself, played the keyboard, drew in some notes in a MIDI clip. Does Sting work for doing like something more sustained, right? Can you use a step sequencer? I mean, you could, right? If you could go at a slower rate and longer note lengths, you could. I'm not sure that this one will do that, though. Anyway, I think, we'll wrap it up there. Thanks for bearing with me as we noodled around today with Sting 2, and we'll see where this goes. And, oh, yes, Itzy mentioned Tim Exile made this algorithmic mastering mixing device, which I think is built in Reactor. That's what he uses, right? That looks interesting. The fact that it's not AI, and can that even work? That's like a philosophical argument, whether the technology works or not. Like, should you do that? Should you allow someone's idea of a good mix to like mix your track, which might be different than how you would do it, right? Where's the creative line there? I don't know. It depends on what kind of music you're making and what your goals are, but I'm intrigued by it. I was tempted to go for his intro price and to try it out myself. Maybe we will. There's definitely been times where I was having, banging my head against the wall with a mix and wasn't sure if what I was hearing was good, and because I'd listened to it too much or whatever, and like having an audio engineering assistant in the studio with you to like set up a mix for you, right? And then you can kind of come back to it with a fresh perspective. Maybe that's a good reason to use it, right? Just as another set of ears, algorithmic ears, based on what Tim Exile likes to do with his mixes. And yes, Acid Bat, the granular stuff on the 303 sounds, and maybe it's not mixed yet, right? I'm sketching in front of you. It's like walking on a tightrope when you're trying to come up with cool musical ideas and live stream and talk to people at the same time. And, sometimes it goes better than others. So, all right, that's it. Thanks, everybody. That's going to be all for today. I won't be on next week, actually. I mentioned earlier I'm moving my whole family from Manhattan to Brooklyn, and the next couple of weeks we're going to be packing and busy and getting ready for that. So I'll be back in about a couple of weeks. So thanks very much. See you then. Adios.